All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another round of coffee and questions. What's today's topic? So, what happened over the weekend is I started to have problems with my blow gun. And I have a couple of different types, and I'm going to show you here in a minute because I use them for two different things, really. So, what I did is I went ahead and I ordered another Coilhouse. This is the Typhoon Blow Gun. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take it out of the package in a minute and I'm going to hook it up. And I read through some of the complaints about this, okay, and one of them being it just doesn't have any power. And the more I dug into it, it's because you're trying to run them off of like one of these small pancake kind of compressors. You're never going to get what you want out of it, and it'll deplete it in a fraction of a second. This is more of like an industrial kind of a blow gun, so you need a fairly good sized compressor. So 20 gallon and under, you're going to dump that sucker in about 5 to 10 seconds when you pull the trigger on this, and I'm going to prove it to you in a few minutes after I hook it up. I have a 2-stage Ingersoll Rand. It's about an 80 gallon compressor and real powerful, okay, and it will handle this, but it can still, with like a continuous use by me holding down, you know, the trigger on it, it can still dump this tank out, I mean, quickly, because it puts out that much air and it's strong as heck. So let me open this up, let's get it hooked up. Now the other thing is, from my other one, I have the extension, which is about 2 feet. And I'm going to show you a slideshow here in just a sec. Well, let's just do it now. Okay, so you can see from the slideshow that I just showed you, you can get this part of the gun in different lengths. I mean, whatever length you want. And we'll talk about all of this stuff in a few minutes, but let's hook it up and let's put this thing to the test, because I've used it before, and for this kind of a powerful blow gun, this is the way that I would go every time. Now, if I want something with like pinpoint pressure, now this isn't, and I'll show it to you in a minute, it has holes around the orifice in the very front of this, and it gives it like this blowout pattern, you know, almost like a shotgun spray real hard. That may not be the best way to look at it, but it's in a circular motion is where all that pressure and power come out of, where this one from Harbor Freight, let me just show you real quick. Now that one from Harbor Freight I use for pinpoint accuracy, like if I want to really blow out something that's stuck in something like some crevice or something, and this gun won't do it. But for the most part, this is the one that I leave hooked up, and yes, it's going to cost you more, but this is a fantastic blow gun. I don't think I ran across anything, I mean, like it. Maybe somebody else has. You can drop it in the comment below. Let's hook it up, let's find out. I'll be right with you. Give me just a few minutes. Okay, so you see here's the old one. Now this one broke because it was dropped from a fairly good height, and it hit something in like concrete, whatever. And so rather than it constantly leaking, I just went ahead and I picked up another one. So one of the downsides that you could say to this Coilhouse is this whole trigger mechanism. It's a fairly thick plastic, and if they're listening, it'd be nice if you would have made this out of metal. But a lot of people complain about this breaking if it hits too hard on something. I haven't had that problem on this one at all. And the leak, I'm not blaming the manufacturer. Like I said, it was dropped from a roof, hit concrete, and all of a sudden it started leaking. So here's the new one, and here's the tip on it. Now I'm going to remove this tip and hold this to the side for spare parts. And this came off of my old one right here. It's got the 2-foot long rod. I'm gonna hook this up to it. It's the exact same tip, just missing the black shield. And let's give it a test. So I'll be right with you. Okay, so now I have it hooked up, got the fitting on, used a little bit of thread tape, okay? Secured it on there, it's ready to go. Got the 2-foot extension, tip is the extra if I ever need it. But let me just show you here, and then we'll practice on a couple things. it's pretty damn powerful, I mean, coming out of here. And if you take a close look at the tip, let me see if I can get it up here. You'll notice in that very tip, going around up here, as well as the tip, I mean, it has little air holes, so it's blowing it out like in this pattern to begin with, but it actually ends up being fairly narrow. I use this for almost everything. I can blow the garage out in 2 minutes because it's got so much volume and flow and pressure, I mean, which is all a combination of each other. Coming out of here, it works fantastic, and I can blow off all the machines. I can make everything look real clean, real quick. You can use, on the Harbor Freight one, and let me show you the picture again. Okay, it has that rubber tip, and it's got the other little extension piece. Now, I just have the rubber tip on there like you saw in the picture. You can put this up to any kind of line, let's say tubes or hoses, and that rubber will create that nice tight seal, and you just hit the trigger and it'll blow the line clean. So for technicians, mechanics, people like that, I suppose they would use that most all of the time. I don't. I use that if I want to get into a really tight area and I want that pinpoint, pressure and flow coming out of there. It'll blast out something, and it's very strong to do it, and it's handheld, it's very cheap, it's inexpensive. Coilhouse is going to cost you more, but this is a fantastic blow gun. Let's do a couple of more examples of how this works, and then I'll flip over and I'll do questions and answers. Okay, so that was kind of a quick demonstration. Now, the other thing I was going to tell you, somebody said, I wish I could take it apart because I might be able to fix the reason why it's leaking. And they said they were unable to do it. What you have to do is take the handle part of this, like right here, and you put this in a vise when it's hooked up, and then unscrew it. This handle will come off, and the mechanism right here sits inside of here like this. And you can take it out, and what I would do is I would clean this up real good. You can even shoot it with PB Blaster or whatever cleaner you have, and I clean this up really well. And look at these little O-rings, because you can replace these at any auto supply store. That will solve your little leaking problem. Okay, and then once this is cleaned out real good, and you can put a little bit of lubricant on here, I just use a little bit of oil and wipe those rings, put it back in there, and then this will screw right back on. Oops, I'm sorry, twist it around. Screws right back on like this into place. Then you can put the tip on there, whatever you want to do, and you should be back into business. Now, if it breaks on you, like mine did, different story. Okay, so we'll do questions and answers on this Typhoon high volume blow gun. $20 as opposed to the Harbor Freight one, which is cheap with a 20% discount, but both serve a specific kind of purpose for me or maybe for you. Okay, so is it variable flow? Yes, it is to a point. Now, here's the old one, and when you pull that trigger, if you just pull it slow, it'll give you a nice little blast of air, and the harder you pull it, of course, the more it's going to come out, and then full throttle. Well, some people complain there isn't any variability. Well, it is, but I think it relates back to the compressor you're hooking it up to, because mine does. I mean, I can make it real gentle, or I can make it real hard, or anywhere in between as far as, the amount of pressure coming out. Comment off of the forum, well, it doesn't hold up to a snap-on. Well, no, and I didn't pay the price for it either, so there you go, and it works perfectly fine, just as good as a snap-on. I just happen to save money, that's all. Same thing with the one from Harbor Freight. I'm a DIY home hobbyist. I don't use this continuously like in an industrial shop, but there are plenty of people that do use this in an industrial shop, and it works perfectly fine. The Harbor Freight one, yeah, I get it, but I'm back to the same point. I use it intermittently, and it's held up, and I've had the Harbor Freight one for I don't know how long time. And it still works perfectly fine. And I would still continue using it, and I would buy it again from Harbor Freight. I think it works perfect for the purpose that I use it for. Blowing out intricate things that I want that pinpoint pressure to. What do I think of it overall? I like it. I'd buy it again. It's OSHA compliant. It says it right on the side. So if you're using it in an industrial shop and you're worried about that, you don't have to, because it is compliant. This thing, to me, if you have it hooked up correctly to a big enough compressor, this thing is like a hurricane. I mean, for blowing anything out. Now this same blow gun from Coilhouse, so somebody made a comment, Mac and Matco sell this exact same blow gun for well over $30. I mean, you can get it on Amazon, like I said, for $20. It's a good deal. They sell additional accessories, you know, between the tips, the extensions, and what have you. I just bought the gun. I already had the extension. The extension's a personal preference on how long you want it. The link's below. Go to the link. It will take you to just the standard gun. And then from there, you can decide what extension you want, or even maybe you don't want one. But the link's below. I would encourage you to go read about it, take a look at the reviews. Most people are totally satisfied with this. The ones that were not are the ones that I don't believe are using a correct compressor to begin with. They sell additional extensions, like I said, tips. Their customer service is good. They get back in contact with you if you got any problems. I've never needed to, but if you did need to, at least it's nice to know they got good customer service. What about customer service on the other one? Well, it's Harbor Freight. If you have a problem with it, just take it back. It's that easy. Now, some people criticize the Harbor Freight one for being cheap, junky. No, it works perfectly fine. I mean, pick one up and try it. I mean, take it back if you're not happy. But just for a very simple DIY kind of a blow gun, I mean, just to use intermittently to blow out hoses and parts and stuff where you want more of a pinpoint accuracy, it works perfectly fine, and it's cheap enough, and I would definitely buy it again. No problem. And this is, like I said, one of my favorite tools, the Typhoon. So I've got the two blow guns, and so it takes care of all the jobs that I need it to, I guess. So if you know of something better, drop it in the comment below and let me know. This is kind of a short review on this Coilhouse. Comes in this blow molded packaging. Let me see if there's anything else on here that you should know about. 1/4 inch NPT inlet, OSHA compliant, flows 34 CFM. Made by Coilhouse Pneumatics. And then on the back it goes on and on about the ergonomics. Look, it's got a nice trigger mechanism. It has, you know, a nice holder right here. It's like a pistol grip. Not a whole lot to say about it, truthfully. All right, something to consider. Good pricing, fantastic product. I would buy this again. Well, actually I did. So, all right, folks, I'm the Home Handyman. I hope you click subscribe, keep following me, drop a comment below, let me know of a better deal. Or if you have something comparable to this that you feel is equally as good, drop it in the comment below and we'll share it with others. I don't have experience with all of them, but like I said, the Harbor Freight ones work for one purpose. This definitely works for most everything and everything else. All right, I'll see you folks on the next video. Have a great day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.